All right, everyone, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Friday, May 17th, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Anyways, let's get into it today. So another week down here, and markets here are just kind of pinned. So again, I talked about this yesterday, but 5,300, we're right in that area right there, as you can see, and that's where we've been all day. A little bit of a test in the 2:30-ish time frame, and then just kind of a bounce back up. Actually had a buy signal on the SMH given out in the day trading room that actually worked out pretty perfectly right to the low of the day here. Do they float us up to Dow 40K? It's possible. I mean, there's 40 minutes left. We got 40 points to go. Maybe they want to do that just to get everybody feeling good into the weekend. But either way, S&P, 5,300 area. That's where we're essentially pinned to. We've been there all day long. So again, right now, we had a pullback day yesterday. It was the first out of 10 for the SPY. Technically, S&P technically had like literally like $1 down day here, and I think like a $2 down day here. But for all intents and purposes, it was 10 straight green for one red. And today we're flat again. I do have a cycle date today. It's also OPEX day, so it lines up pretty nicely. We've traded up into that, so I would expect a pullback or a consolidation into next week. We do have NVIDIA earnings. Perhaps that could contribute there. We could also look at yields. I've floated this idea out as well. Looking at the 10-year, right into that lower trend line. 30-year, same thing. We've talked about a possible bounce off of that. We're getting one now. Does that cause, do we float back up to 4.7 on the 30s and, maybe 4.55, 4.6 on the 10s? And does that cause the markets to pull back? It's very likely, right? It's very likely that could happen. That said, that should be a higher low. So again, I'm looking for a summer rally here. And again, that's really what I see. The bear case, I kind of made this clear, and you guys saw me last week. I said on Tuesday, I said, you didn't want to see this. You did not want to see, that was the 7th, that was Tuesday, yeah. You didn't want to see that gap filled. You did not. That was the first red flag. And then really just closing the week above 5,200 was really it. And now obviously new all-time closing high. So if we do pull back or consolidate, it should be, another buying opportunity. Where can we pull back? Well, right now, immediately 52.65 and then 5,200 are obvious targets. A steeper pullback, gets you into the 51.50 area perhaps. But again, you can see here, and I talked about this yesterday as well, we were over 200 points extended at one point from the 20-day moving average. Last time that happened was on the 19th of April, which is right there. And even, at other times, I think going back into the June OPEX cycle of last year, it was the same thing. So we had 44.50 was the high, 20 DMA, about 42.60, 42.70. So roughly 200 points. When you get that extended, even here, 4,100 and, 42.67, once you start getting like, 150, 200 points extended from that, it's got to come back in or consolidate, right? So you could consolidate like this, like that, or you could snap back in that fashion. So that's kind of what I'm expecting for next week. NVIDIA is going to be interesting. I've talked about it every day this week, but essentially, how much of that is priced in. Druck selling a lot too. He sold, and he didn't. They're saying, people are trying to say, oh, he trimmed it. He trimmed 71% of his position, and then he moved it into small caps, believe it or not. So that's going to be interesting. I've talked about if there's another leg up. I've mentioned this for really the last quarter. If there's another leg up, it's probably not going to come from chips. It's going to come from some other sector. It may come from small caps. You may even see it come from energy, and maybe biotech can have a comeback too. Just floating these ideas out there, but I don't think chips. I think the chips is just specifically like the seniors like NVIDIA. Their margins are getting they're going to get caught up. There's no way that these companies are just getting. They're already doing this. ARM, SMCI, Intel, Broadcom, AMD. They're already coming out with hardware and software that they're not just going to sit there and let NVIDIA have 90% margins forever, right? So that's what's going to come down to. Does NVIDIA guide differently? And do they finally underwhelm for the first time in a long time? But that's early next week. Outside of that, I don't think. But we do have Powell speaking at Sunday night, I think. So that's interesting. But yeah, outside of that, not a ton of economic data next week. We do have a 20-year auction on Thursday, or excuse me, Wednesday. I only have 10-year tips on Thursday, so maybe some bond action going on here. But again, markets are a little stretched here in the short term, and we're expecting digestion. So we'll keep it simple there. Same thing with the Qs. Weekly close above 450 looks fine. Again, NVIDIA earnings will obviously move it. IWM, nothing has changed. A little pullback here, but 210, 212, still resistance. 205 is your next point of control. On the downside, the Dow here, we'll see if we get above 400. Again, it's inconsequential here in the short term, but they may want a token close above that. So we'll see if they do that here today to get that that psychological thing out of the way for the Friday close. SMH, again, very tied to NVIDIA here. Right now, inside candle to Wednesday's move. This is still the master pivot right now. IGV inching up here as well. That's peaking above this trend line. I'm just going to say, I mean, I don't know. We could do this. We could kind of do, you could do that. It's kind of subjective here. Let's just say it's closing on the trend line for this week, and then we'll defer to next week. But right there on the weekly, obviously, as you can see. But you do have a failed inside bar on the weekly here. So that is bullish for IGV. So we're gonna, maybe cloud is the next sector instead of if something tech has to bid up, maybe it's cloud instead of chips. Again, just throwing that out there. Dow Transports I still don't like. This is at the lows of the day right now, DJT here, and the spiders are inching up. So this is going the opposite direction. Look at this. It's breaking down. Look at the hourly. Look at bear flag. Very weak sector, 618 holding. I would not be in this right now. You know, could it, you know, I mean, maybe could put a higher low. It's got a chance, yeah, but it's just a weak sector. So I still don't like transports here. Interest rates, again, we talked about the bounce there, 5s, 10s, and 30s, 2-year. It's holding weekly support. So right there, that's your green bar low. As long as that holds, the 2 years okay. And again, all this talk about cuts and all that stuff, I mean, the yield curves are not really respecting that at the moment. So I don't know where that's coming from. But again, the market needs a narrative to go higher. It doesn't need a narrative, but it gets one. And, you know, that's how things work. So either way, XHB here at 107. So we did back off of 110. And again, right back inside of this channel here. So nothing really terrible here, but definitely lagging in the short run. But again, XHB just backing off the highs, nothing terrible here on the larger time frames. So right now, XHB hanging in there. VNQ here down 4 cents today. Again, I don't love the gap here. You could be putting in an island. Not quite to this trend line yet. I think if it gets to that trend line, it's probably going to stall out. Third hit, usually that's kind of the rule there. Little stretch here in the short term. May need to go back check to 83 or 82. So VNQ, it's holding up though. We'll respect it. XLF, new all-time high, new all-time closing high. I said this over the last couple of weeks. This is a big point for bulls. Financials acting well. Look at KBE. That's close to weekly breakout. I mean, it's basically on weekly breakout here. I've been saying this since we've seen it. So I've been saying this for almost 6 months now, since December. Bullish inside bar on the weekly. Never failed. And it's inching higher. The KRE is different because you had a failure right there, and then it turned into a bearish inside bar, which is still intact. So again, I'll give it the upside bias as long as KBE is holding up, but it's weaker. And you're seeing we're backing off of this little trend line here right now. But it's in better shape. Broker dealers overbought. Big picture, very extended on the monthly. The volatility does help them out though. And the return of retail too. By the way, look at Robinhood here. Up 11% today. I think this got upgraded by Bank of America. I'm sure they bought beforehand, but the weekly patterns, I can't believe I'm saying this, it's not bad for Robinhood. That's actually kind of decent. So just in terms of broker dealers. All right, oil here up 83 cents after a pretty good gap down. So futures gapping down quite a bit and then up. Nothing terrible here. I think this probably wants to go to 81. Still has a lot of support here that it's got to work through if it wants to go lower. XLE peaking above our trend line here, and it looks like it's going to get a weekly close above that. So XLE may catch up. I was really hoping for 87. Doesn't look like we're going to get there right now. Maybe we do, maybe we don't, but definitely a better chart now. And same thing with XOP, although XOP is a little bit weaker. And the OIH here never had that really lower high, so OIH is holding up. I think this goes a lot higher in due time. CCJ holding up at 50, made a new 52-week high. Looks like a new 52-week closing high. This may be on weekly breakout here. I told you guys at the beginning of the week, it might need one more week of consolidation, but that's about it. And there it goes. Look at the URNM. Never closed below the green bar. And that is starting to curl back up. NJ, same thing. These look very good. They look like they're getting ready to go, if not going already. Nat gas up another 6. This has got upside to about 270. This is the M. And then, you know, really like 290 after that. Once it rolls to N, which should be in a week or two, you know, $3. So nat gas, again, that's why I said, like, don't try to short this in front of June. Third week of June, if we're up into resistance, then you can try it, but I wouldn't really try to do it here. Dollar index flat to lower. Weekly chart is still fine. Nothing's changed. Gold having a big day. Still no new 52-week highs, but we have it on the GDX. Look at that. Gap and go. GDXJ, go AU. I own this one. All up over 3%. The big star of the day, though, is silver. And I just want to make sure everyone knows Jerome Powell doesn't see any inflation here. He doesn't see GameStop going up to $60. And he definitely doesn't see silver and copper and platinum all ripping higher either. But I told you guys last week, higher high here on the SILJ, another 5% there, and the SIL, right, versus the lower high right there on silver. Said that's bullish. Miners leading the metal. Look what happened. Oh, we're almost at 32. I'm talking about this right now, and we're almost at the 32 as I speak. This is going to 35 before it has any sort of major resistance. Platinum still inching higher here. I've been telling you guys about this for months. I've been openly telling you that I'm accumulating it. So that's free info. And here it goes. And this is still early, by the way. Everybody's talking, oh, silver, oh, gold, gold, silver, gold. I mean, yeah, I love them too, but like, look at this in relative to silver and gold. And look at palladium. This is why I keep talking about them. Buy low, sell high, right? These are on sale here. That's why I keep talking about them. Don't worry, in a few years, everybody will be talking about them, and then I'll be selling, but that's how it works. Anyways, having a good day there. Copper just continues to power up here. Again, still think there's a good chance of a climax candle here in play. It's a good tail candle, high volume, but it is retracing. So we'll see. We'll see next week, but it's not above that high, and until closing above that high, that's still the resistance right now, and it still could be a near-term top. But again, just make sure you tell everybody that Jerome Powell doesn't see any inflation. Yellen issuing $1 trillion in debt every quarter. All right, Bitcoin here. So we have our inverse head and shoulders. That's triggered. We talked about that yesterday. Little back check, and now it's inching up. So that's in play. This trend line's in play too. Again, nothing wrong with Bitcoin here. Nothing wrong with the cryptos here. You know, the alts are a little bit weaker, but the you know, Bitcoin's holding up. Back above 67.5 likely repairs the chart a little bit and firms it up a little bit more. Not that it's broken, but it definitely firms up a little bit more. And I'd like to see some follow through on that weekly. So, but nice pullback to the 20-week moving average, and it's inching up. A lot of people calling for 52. Even myself, I said, you know, look for 52 potentially. Sometimes that's why it doesn't get there. But right now it's holding up. If it rolls over, then it can go back down there. But right now I don't see anything really wrong for it. So no problems there. Um, Again, spiders here. So we're holding up. We'll close right at 5,300 likely. The Dow might get some type of outside bid. Maybe they pump up UNH or something like that. To get the Dow up. I think Goldman. Yeah, Goldman's another big one. So maybe they pump Goldman and UNH just to get that 40K handle on the Dow. Everybody feeling good into the weekend, but outside of that, again, I don't see anything terrible for stocks here outside of the fact that we're just a little stretched in the short term. We should see a pullback or consolidation over the next week or so, but I think it will be likely some type of buying opportunity moving forward. So, anyways, guys, gonna wrap it up here. You guys have a great weekend. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I will see you guys all on Monday.